Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining us today. Could you start us off with telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, sure. That's my favorite subject, and it's great that you called me, Nicole. I'm pretty excited about having this opportunity. As many of you know, I was the former chairman of the National Labor Relations Board, but before that, I was a partner with Kathy Creighton in the Buffalo law firm of Creighton, Pearce, Johnson, and Giroux, where we did almost exclusively labor and employee side labor relations. Before that, I was with another firm, and then before that, I was with the National Labor Relations Board in the regional office in Buffalo. Originally from Brooklyn, but I went up to Buffalo to go to law school and wanted to get with the NLRB because that was the agency that really got me excited about labor law. I discovered that when I worked as a work study student while I was in law school. The passion that the investigators had about the work was inspiring. The goal of the National Labor Relations Act was something that I really embraced because it involved working with people and working with workers and trying to help them out. So though I didn't think that it would become my life's work, it has turned out to be that. And I've been lucky in that regard. I think that though hard work is required, I was fortunate in that there were opportunities that presented themselves. I was a New Yorker with a New York chip on my shoulder when I came up to Buffalo and thought I was going to be leaving after a couple of years. I said, well, I'll start off in the NLRB office here in Buffalo, work there for maybe about 3 years and, get back to the big city. Well, 15 years later, I was still there and then had the opportunity to go into the private sector. And I went into the private sector in my 40s, which is not exactly the move to make usually when you're transitioning, but it was the best move I could have made. I had the opportunity to be an advocate for unions and for individuals. I was known in the Black community. A lot of folks called with individual cases dealing with race discrimination and employment discrimination that I tried to handle as best as possible. Most significantly, though, I was an advocate for workers with my expertise in the National Labor Relations Act. I was able to put that to work, I think, fairly effectively, representing unions like CWA, 1199, the steel workers, the building trades. We had a wide variety of labor unions that we took care of. And me, the only African-American union side attorney probably west of Route 81, well, that was my significant uniqueness for a long time. While it was an indictment in most respects, I considered it to be an opportunity for me. So I did a lot to try to encourage young people of color about the values of workers' side public interest work. That's why I'm so pleased to see that this High Roads organization has all of this vitality and all of these young people are doing all these fantastic things. I really cheer them on. And I love the fact that it's broad-based and it's not just worker related, but it's land use and arts and poetry and the like. Art is my passion. My former partner, Kathy Creighton, will tell you that I'm painting all the time. I have my paintings in their law office. And I said right now, as we speak, I'm looking around past that fake brick wall and looking at my art studio. So that's something that I never gave up. I think that You know, you work hard to make the bread, but you also have to take time with the roses. That's why there's that beautiful labor movie Bread and Roses. We have to remember that. I'm also inspired by the fact that we're in a period now where I've watched a lot that I had helped cultivate and labor law improvements get washed away by this administration and those in the labor board relating to that. But we have young people who are inspired by what the the statute is really about, and they want to do what they can to bring it about in the way that it was originally designed. And that makes my heart feel good. Right now, I'm at Georgetown Law. I'm putting together a Workers' Rights Institute. It's something that, again, was another fortunate gift for me because at the end of my career with the NLRB, the question was, well, what do you do? What do you do now? And being surrounded by enthusiastic law students wanting to do progressive things, and me getting the opportunity to teach them about it and to build up a Workers' Rights Institute where we can encourage and engage and empower workers with respect to their existing rights, and at the same time go across the street to the Capitol, because you know we're right downtown, right in on Capitol Hill, and see what we can do to to effectively make labor law change to work better for workers is just the perfect place for me. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent. Well, Mark, you certainly had an illustrious career, and I'm curious if there's a defining experience that you can think of throughout all of it.
Well, you know, being on the board, not just as the chairman, but as a board member, was a dream come true. It was something that I would have never expected, particularly from an attorney way up in Buffalo, where they only say Buffalo and snow in the same sentence if they're not talking about 4 Super Bowl losses. But but I'm still a Buffalo Bills fan, and the day that I learned that I was nominated for the NLRB, my partners celebrated. Kathy hugged me with tears in her eyes. And then in their next breath, they all said, "You better clean up your cases because we're not doing it." So one night while I was preparing to get out of there and keep the cases in good stead and settle things where I can and work towards resolution when I could, I'm working there probably about 8 o'clock at night, and I get a knock on the door. And I open the door, and it was the housekeeping, the janitors, all of them holding up the article that was in the paper about my nomination. And they stopped and they gave me an applause. And I knew that, well, I'm standing on their shoulders. And there's a whole lot that I have to do, and I cannot disappoint. So that was my most fulfilling moment, I think.
Wow, that's a very touching story, and I think that you've really, throughout your work, definitely kept to your promise to those workers and been a great advocate for them. So to close us off, I guess, then, do you have any words of advice to leave our students with?
Yes, and that is, if it's your passion and it makes you excited to do what you're doing, then that means you're doing what you're supposed to do. It is a falsehood to think that to be passionate about public interest work is to take a vow of poverty. That's not true. People who are passionate about their work and are working on the side of the angels are people that everybody needs. You're always going to have something to do, and there's going to be a way for you to be able to find your way economically to be able to fulfill that passion and to be able to pay your car note. So I say to you, continue to do what you're doing. Expose yourself as much as you can to those things that are for the best interest of workers in America, because things are going to change. They're going to change for the better. And we're going to have to roll up our sleeves because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to need to do. And no, as spry as I look, this is really a gray beard. And I need people with black beards and dark beards and no beards at all, who have all of this energy, and most of all, who are smart on our side, because the battle is just starting. And with you on our side, we're going to win.
Thank you so much.